Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
These days, show me an elected Democrat. I'll show you the problem. In fact, I can pinpoint the problem right there. Dominic Carter here with you. The number to reach us this hour from around the country, 800-848-9222. Democrats, I shouldn't be surprised, even though I am, looking to deflect and even blame President Trump for the murder of that innocent 18-year-old young lady, Sheridan Gorman, the student from our area, Westchester County, New York, that was in her freshman year of college in Chicago. Bears repeating. You show me an elected Democrat these days, I'll show you the problem. You can pinpoint it right there. You cannot make this up. This is Governor Pritzker in Illinois. The governor actually deflecting and trying to blame Trump for the murder of this young lady.
Governor, the parents of Sheridan Gorman, she's the Loyola University student, was murdered. Her parents said about their daughter's killings, quote, "We are greatly disappointed by the policies and failures that allowed this individual to remain in a position to commit this crime," the suspect that is. "When systems fail, whether through release decisions, lack of coordination, or unwillingness to act, the consequences are not abstract, they are real, and in our case, they are permanent." What do you say to Sheridan's parents, Tom and Jessica Gorman, when they blame policies, including those in Illinois, for their daughter's murder?
Well, this has been a terrible tragedy, and I know that the Gorman family has suffered mightily. I agree, there have been real failures. Those failures, of course, extend beyond the borders of Illinois. That's their national failures, a failure to have comprehensive immigration reform, a failure of the president to follow his own edict to go after the worst of the worst.
So hard to believe in this situation, but again, Democrats trying to deflect and blame Trump for this young lady's murder. Now, the last time I checked, Trump tried his best to bring the National Guard into Chicago. Pritzker and clown mayor Brandon Johnson, and Pritzker's as much a clown as Brandon Johnson is as well, they fought it tooth and nail. Tooth and nail. And now the lead Democrat in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, says he isn't sure that this illegal who murdered this young lady should be deported.
An illegal immigrant has been charged with murdering a college student in Chicago last week. Do House Democrats believe if he's convicted, he's someone who should be deported?
I'll look into the case.
Do you expect any...
I'll look into the case. I'll look into the case. This has been bubbling up for a while in terms of African Americans in Chicago, Illinois. This young woman erupts, appearing on television, lashing out at Governor Pritzker.
What goes through your mind as you listen to his reaction today and you look back at what he said right after President Trump's election?
Obviously, Governor Pritzker does not care about the American people. He hasn't said anything about Sheridan. He actually went to Minnesota to put down flowers for Renee Good, but did not go to the lakefront where he filmed an ad to show how safe Chicago is that's now stained with her blood. He hasn't gone there to drop a rose. We are tired, America. We need help. I've been sitting here in this chair for 2 years asking the federal government to supersede defeat the policies that are making the American people sitting ducks for criminals, literal criminals who crawl through a hole in the gate and are being subsidized with our tax dollars. How much more can we take? She's not the first woman to be killed by an illegal in this city, in this country. But yet every time we ask for the help and we get the help, we have our local officials here who send out their liberal army to go out and fight against them. And we're asking everybody to now get out the way and let them do their work. Mr. President, we need another Tomahawk helicopter here in the city of Chicago at Leona Park Beach Shelter. That's where that man lives. And if there was one gun in there, there are several guns in there. They are terrorizing and harassing the American people, and our local officials refuse to do anything about it. So we're asking you, please, President Trump, come save us. Sheridan didn't deserve to die, and we don't want more of American blood to be spilled on the sidewalk by these invaders.
Show me an elected Democrat these days, I'll show you the problem. Every town needs a journalist like William J. Kelly. Every city. Now, you don't know who this guy is, but they end up being, and it used to be at New York City Hall as well, they end up being an advocator / journalist. In other words, they keep their thumb in the eye of the elected official. So the guy here that's challenging clown mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, his name is William J. Kelly. He's the reporter. And, every major city used to have one. You got to have one of these guys that goes out of conventional thought and they just push, fight against an elected official. So this is William Kelly, as he often does. I want you to hear this exchange. This is clown mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, and journalist William Kelly.
Mayor Johnson, Bethany McGee, I don't know if you remember her name. She was set on fire on a CTA train by a repeat violent offender who was out on the street because of your policies. She never would have been set on fire. She would be living her life right now, but for your policies. Now, again, we have another young lady, 18-year-old Irish girl, Sheridan Gorman, who is dead at the hands of a suspect, an illegal alien, who, once again, was out on the streets because of your policies. Okay?
What's your question?
He wanted... I'm sorry, don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me.
Get to the question. Respect.
Don't interrupt me. Respect the question.
What question?
Respect the question.
Ask it. What's the question? All right, Craig.
Could you have a little respect? Sheridan Gorman is dead today at the hands of a suspect, an illegal alien, who was out on the streets because of your policies. You've spent hundreds of millions
Ask the question.
of taxpayer dollars to protect these illegal aliens. You've instructed the Chicago Police Department not to turn them over to ICE. Do you have anything? You didn't even issue a statement, which I guess is better than the statement you released.
We got it.
Announcing that Bethany McGee was an isolated incident, which is an insult, which is almost evil.
Please get to the question, sir.
Did you coordinate with Governor Pritzker not to release statements as a way of trying to diminish the death?
I think I understand your question.
Sheridan Gorman.
So there was no coordination, between me or any other level of government around this tragedy. What I can say is it is a tragedy, and look,
a preventable tragedy.
As someone who is raising a family,
you don't have any problem interrupting me, do you?
Do you want the answer to your question?
I want to answer the question here. And look, as I said in my opening remarks, as I prepare to send my child off to college, of course you want to send them into a place that they're going to thrive and grow. And it's heartbreaking. it's a tragedy. And what I can say though is that my work to continue to create safe and affordable communities, that work doesn't stop when we have a tragedy like this. And as we continue to grieve the loss of Sheridan and other victims who have fallen because of senseless violence, we're going to double down on our efforts to ensure that we create safe communities across the city. And we're going to continue to.
Will you apologize to? Will you take this opportunity to apologize to Sheridan's parents for the policies that you promoted that would directly caused her death? That suspect would not be in the city, would not be in the country, but for your policies. Will you take this opportunity to apologize to Sheridan's family?
We're all grieving the loss of Sheridan and other folks who have lost their lives because of senseless violence. And let's just be very clear, between the Safety Act and the Welcoming City Ordinance, the Welcoming City Ordinance was passed 40 years ago by the first black mayor in the history of Chicago. And the Safety Act was passed under the governor, at that time who was a Republican, Governor Rauner. Thank you for your question.
So you will not apologize to Sheridan's parents?
Hi, Mayor.
You have no apology. You have nothing to say to them?
I want to follow up on some of the other appointments. What's taking so long to get somebody appointed to head?
And so there you have it. And this is why this is interesting for you folks. Your taxpayer dollars at work. If you listen to the background players, right, they're on the mayor's payroll of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, you heard a woman and you heard a guy. And so I stand by my statement that every city needs a journalist like that individual that was just asking the questions, right? Somebody that's in the mayor's face, William J. Kelly. And your taxpayer dollars at work sounds like a communications director. Her job is to make sure that the mayor looks good and that his little feelings are not hurt or embarrassed. And then you have the guy that's holding the mic standing next to him. And so we used to have journalists, maybe, advocate like William J. Kelly, but not anymore. Now what do we have? You're asking a question off topic. We must stick to the topics of what the mayor wants to talk about today. Oh, no. We're not taking those types of questions. That is the world that we live in today. So we have parents in Chicago of Sheridan Gorman, the 18-year-old, that just arrived there. And it's all about protecting the clown mayor's image. And notice what he would not say. He just would not say sorry. And he's minimizing her death by saying, yes, we're grieving the loss of Sheridan. And then he points to other victims. So, Mr. Mayor, are you talking about the innocent children that are killed on your watch in Chicago? Which victims are you referring to this time, Mr. Mayor, with your sick, warped agenda? Dominic Carter here with you. Time for a break. The number to reach me live right now, 800-848-9222.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
To the phones we go, 800-848-9222. Line 2, Sherman in Manhattan. Sherman, good morning. What's on your mind?
Good morning to you, too, and your outstanding staff, your crew, with this amazing show. I'm so, first, just extremely grateful to have access to the show. It is, as I always said, mentally healthy to listen to the truth, even when it's blunt and direct, even when you argue with the callers. I love it all. It's mentally healthy. The truth is always healthy. I'd like to ask you a simple question. Why are we as Americans, why are we so stupid and gullible and naive to keep voting and keeping these sociopaths, these politicians, in office that don't care about the average person. You know, they all are richer than the average person that voted for them. They all live a lifestyle that's better than the average person that voted for them. Especially, I'm going to use an example like Chuck Schumer. I can't stand him. He reminds me of a guy with sweaty palms. Why is this guy in office as long as he is when he does nothing to help the average American person? Please, if you can answer that question, why do we have this fake, fraudulent system set up where we vote people into power and all they do is get rich and wealthy and powerful, like the Obamas, like the Bidens, like Schumer? The list goes on and on, like AOC. Why do we have this fake, fraudulent system that we keep voting the wrong people into office?
It saddens me, Sherman. It really does. But you're asking me a rhetorical question because you're a smart man and you know the answer. And, you know, sometimes I say, do you want the real answer? Do you want the political answer? You know why they stay in office, because they go to the black community with mad game, a term that the kids would use that I know you know, and they talk that talk, brother, sister, and you don't have to be a black politician, brother, sister, the man is keeping you down. I'm here to save you. Free, free, free. And it works every single time. You know, it's the bottom line. And you know, Sherman, I'm going to be dealing with this later on today. So Mamdani settled a suit of the mayor of New York with Dunkin' Donuts. So he was at City Hall. He's always doing these stunts, eating Dunkin' Donuts food for lunch with his commissioner of consumer affairs, I believe. And I just found it so interesting that at the end of his comments, he mentioned directly, in a very glowing way, the third candidate in the race for New York City mayor. Now, they got 7% of the vote. Why would Mamdani mention this person's name? Now, remember what Mamdani said about Cuomo. He said, I hope to never utter his name again in life. Now, juxtaposition that with the fact that he glowingly mentioned the third candidate in the race for mayor. So you said, why do people continue to do it? Because some of our listeners don't like that I'm telling you the truth. The deck was stacked. The third candidate took a dive. There's no doubt about it. And it's going to come out one way or the other. And I'm going to make sure that it comes out. If nobody else does, I'm going to reveal it. Because I know a deal was cut somewhere with some money. I don't know to whom and how much, but it was not, you asked me why, it was not a fair election in the city of New York. Now, I know fairs, who cares about fair? It was 2 against 1. Mamdani had a wingman, and that's why he's the mayor of New York City today. You have the final word, Chairman. Go ahead.
I'm astonished that you just said that he mentioned that, I just I refer to him now, not even by his name, that guy with the red beret, and his wife, whose age he didn't know when he was in a relationship with her. Am I surprised? Sometimes the more people try to act like they're self-righteous, like that guy with the red beret, the more I'm suspicious of them. Thank you for taking my call.
Sherman, thank you, and I got to take a break. We're going to be playing the sound later on today, the mayor of New York mentioning Mr. Sliwa. I'm coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
So the man dummy in New York says that ICE doesn't belong in our airports, and we Americans across the country believe that an inexperienced Nepo baby cosplaying rapper from Uganda with a racist anti-Semitic wife doesn't belong in Gracie Mansion. Yet, here we are.
And that is Kathy Talk from Instagram. She makes a lot of sense. And again, folks, I try to warn you about the mayor's race and Mamdani hiding his wife. He knew, and you haven't heard half of the stuff this lady has done. He knew, but, he says she's a private citizen. See, he who controls the media controls the narrative. So he's got almost every one of those reporters down at City Hall in his pocket. I'm not talking about financial. I'm talking about they want to be liked. They want access, right? And, sometimes as a journalist, you got to work it out where you get access because we're competitive with each other. And so, for example, when I was down at City Hall, I had to watch my back nonstop because I beat every other political reporter, and they were trying to find a way to stop me from getting all the exclusives, right? That it's part of the game. And so Mayor Mamdani of New York City, if your wife is such a private person, you would think a reporter would ask this. Well, Mr. Mayor, then why doesn't she give up her police detail? There are police officers of New York City protecting this woman 24 hours a day. She's living in a mansion paid for by taxpayers. If she's a private citizen and she's not part of your administration, then she doesn't need a police detail, right, Mr. Mayor? And by the way, a follow-up, Mr. Mayor, why haven't you denounced not one single comment that your wife has made? Why is that, Mr. Mayor? With me right now, Matt Blaze. So, Matt, what does your shirt say there? That's a rock group, or what is that?
This is a Leonard Skinner shirt.
Okay, and that means what?
They're a band.
Okay, a good band?
Yeah, Freebird, That Smell, Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
now I get it. Okay, now see, you're all over the place, man, because you love rap, you love that, but you don't like country.
No. This is about as country as I will get is Leonard Skinner, and that's like Southern rock.
Okay,
but new country is okay. Old school, I can't do that.
There's some sexy women in country music.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, old school country and western, that Loretta Lynn or any of those old school. Shot my dog and roll my truck and drink some beer. Ding, 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 ding.
I didn't realize how close. And folks, we get into your telephone calls. We're going to go to Jay in New Jersey in a moment. But I didn't realize how close Tennessee is to Georgia. And I want to get to Tennessee, I guess, to Memphis. I mean, I've been to Memphis, but I want to get to the areas where the country music is. I want to experience that.
Why?
I want to see. I'll be honest with you. I want to see the pretty ladies.
You gonna wear a cowboy hat, a big buckle, some boots with spurs.
If necessary.
You gonna ride a horse?
If necessary.
Yeah. You gonna horseback riding? Have you gone horseback riding?
I think we've all gone horseback riding, correct?
Yeah,
no?
I fell off a horse.
Oh no, that's not good.
When I was like 7.
Did you kick him?
No. So what happened was, and I don't know if it's still there, but there used to be a place I think it was in Pomona, called the Four Quarters Ranch. And I took horseback riding lessons. And the guy who owned the ranch, his name was Duke. They called him the Duke.
The Duke.
So I'm taking these lessons, and they take a group, there's a whole group of people, and I'm on my horse, and there was a straightaway. And they said, all right, you could go as fast as you want on the straightaway. And they would send each person by them, like one at a time.
Right.
So it's my turn. I think I'm 7 years old. And my horse takes off. And I'm like, yeah, because we're galloping. And I'm leaning. I'm starting to fall to the right. As the horse is moving, I'm starting to lean to the right, like I'm falling off the horse. Because my foot wasn't in the spur, like my left foot.
Boy.
So in my mind, because I'm 7, I'm thinking of like a cartoon where I'm going to end up underneath the horse. Like I'm going to slide underneath because like a cartoon. So I say, okay, I'm not going to slide underneath the horse. So I jump off the horse. But my right foot was in the spur.
And so you got stuck.
So now the horse is dragging me.
Oh, boy.
And eventually my foot got out. And then I'm just laying there in the dirt. I wasn't crying. I didn't cry or anything. We get back to the ranch. They tell the guy what happened, Duke. And he goes, you're only a cowboy when you fall off the horse 3 times. So you got 2 more to go, kid.
That was a way to diffuse it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, Blaze, and I'm about to go to Jay in New Jersey. We talked about this a little bit yesterday with Linda that called from Rockland County. So if you had an adult child about to go to college, would you send them to college in Chicago or New York or a major city?
Man, it would depend on the school. It would depend on what kind of security they have. I mean, I'd have to think about it for sure. And what other options are out there. I'd probably prefer not to send them to a city. But it depends on, I guess it would just really depend on the school. I mean, there are some really good schools in cities.
Right.
Yale,
many
Harvard.
Many of them, are right there in the city. So, like, for example, Syracuse. So my daughter followed in my footsteps and went to she was fortunate enough to get into the Newhouse School, right? And when I think about it, Blaze, right down the hill from Syracuse University is the hood. And I mean the hood,
right.
Okay? And I'm like, if a child, especially a child of color, if you want to fit in and find your people, it's right down the hill.
Right.
And you can end up in some serious trouble down there, you know?
But doesn't everywhere you go has that area, no matter
Correct.
where you go?
Correct.
You know the places not to go to. You know, right. I mean, I went to school in New Haven. So, of course, there's bad areas, New Haven,
right.
that I knew not to go to. There's bad areas everywhere where you tell people to stay out of. And then the college towns, because a lot of these schools are that's it. The whole town is the school. Is that better than a city that has, you can get a lot of culture from that particular city? Every city has its own little vibe you're going to get that's different than another city, right? So New York, Philly, wherever you go.
Right.
Boston. So it would depend on the
bottom
school.
line. And thanks, Blaze. Here's the bottom line. Stop letting these savages into the country that are killing women, raping women, killing Americans. How about that? Let's go to Jay, line 4. New Jersey. What's on your mind, Jay?
Yeah, hey, Dominic. You played that clip of Brandon Johnson, and, Brandon Johnson's a sick and evil bastard like every elected Democrat now in the country. And I think the lack of empathy he showed in that clip isn't even the issue. The issue we have to focus on is the fact that Democrats are intentionally, hauling every third world dirtbag into this country to kill Americans. And J.B. Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, all these people, they are all responsible for these killings. And a just system, Dominic, would have them spending the rest of their lives in prison for what they're purposefully subjecting their constituents to. And one more thing, Dominic, I don't think we should ever forget about what the last administration did. Alejandro Mayorkas needs to be held accountable because what they did when they opened the border and purposefully imported foreign barbarians to kill Americans.
But Jay, why are you focusing on Mayorkas? I mean, you do know that he was carrying out higher orders. He's just a pawn in the process. I know you don't think that this was his decision to do that. This came directly from the top.
Exactly. Yes, it did. And an example has to be made of the person that executed this because, Dominic, the next Democrat president is going to come in. They're going to take this even further because they saw when Alejandro Mayorkas did what he did and got away with it. They know now that they can get away with further. We have to punish these people who perpetrated this. And, you're not going to get President Biden for that. But the most you could do is to get the people who executed the plan. And if that's not done, I'm afraid this will only continue with the next administration.
No, I hear you, Jay, but the argument will be that that's based on policy. There's nothing criminal in terms of what he did.
Of course there is, Dominic. He ignored federal immigration law. He flew them into the country, Dominic. He flew them into various airports.
Right, but
these people were known murderers.
Blame him for that. He can't. Listen, I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just trying to tell you. Like, people are like, how come he hasn't been prosecuted? I'm trying to tell you why. Because he's carrying out the orders of the White House. It goes up the chain. But I hear you, Jay. Thank you for the great call. I agree. Somebody needs to be held responsible. I don't understand the strategy of Democrats these days. How are you going to win an election? How? So maybe you haven't gone to visit this guy in the hospital, bleeding heart Democrats, because he has tuberculosis, right? So he claims, right? I hope that was a medical diagnosis and not him knowing what to say to avoid his first hearing, which has been rescheduled now, I believe, for Friday or for Monday. I don't know. I don't get it, folks. Why do you keep letting these people in here? It's not happening now, but they're already here. That they don't respect us. They think that all we're good for is taking our money. They want to rape our women and ultimately murder us. And in often cases, murder our women as well. I don't know. Let's go to Jim, also in New Jersey. Jim, what's on your mind?
Oh, yes. 4th of July is on a Saturday, celebrated Friday. 9/11, Christmas and New Year's is on Friday.
Wait. You're mumbling. Wait, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're just mumbling. Okay. Can you please be coherent?
Okay. 4th of July is on a Saturday. 9/11 is on Friday. Christmas and New Year's on Friday. Do you think he'll pull that prayer?
Okay, what do the days? What do the actual day? What does that? How is that relevant? What does that have to do with anything?
Because he always does the prayer reg with the election. I'm wondering if he would do that with Kathy.
Wait, you're saying he? Who's he? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The mayor of New York.
Okay, you came on, you're mumbling. It sounded like I woke you up. You got to be able to articulate what you're saying. What are you trying to say, Jim?
I'm trying to say that 4th of July is a Saturday, celebrated Friday. 9/11, Christmas and New Year's are on a Friday. Will he take that prayer rug out and pray to 7th in our face, and will Kathy Hochul do anything about it?
Kathy Hochul's not going to do anything about anything. So thank you for the call. Do me a favor, Jim. Next time, be ready to go. Don't have marbles in your mouth. You just wasted 2 minutes of airtime that I just don't have. Kathy Hochul's not going to do anything about anything. Mamdani, I don't see how he can avoid any 9/11 commemoration, the 25th anniversary, whatever the year will be. I don't see how he can avoid it, but this guy has a set of cojones on him that you don't know. Let's go to line 5. Joe in Trenton, New Jersey. What's on your mind, Joe?
Yeah, Dominic, didn't Iwerkis lie to Congress about the border being secured?
But isn't that a relative term? He could say that it was secure. It's all in the eye of the beholder. How are you going to prove that? Who gets to prove that?
All right. Well, that was just my opinion. The reason why I called Dominic was you had a previous caller who was talking about why people vote for these people. Well, you know what? When Donald Trump was running for president in 2016, one of the things he wanted was a merit-based immigration policy. And they called him every name in the book because he didn't want the stupid ones coming in, dumbing down our schools, dumbing down our communities, putting their hands out, wanting this, wanting that, and just guess what happened? Joe Biden lets them all in, and that's exactly what happened. And that's why these people vote the way they vote, is because they want money, they want this, they want that. They're lazy. They don't want to work. They don't want to work. They want to be taken care of.
Well, that's true, Joe. And then you add the fact that they vote based on personality. They don't vote. Many are first-time voters. They have no idea what they're doing. And then you have an election like in New York City where it's 2 against 1. It was Cuomo against Mamdani and the other candidate. And, the first Muslim American mayor, he's so cute. He's gonna let us ride the bus for free. I mean, if you ever believe he hasn't delivered on one thing, and he's not going to be able to, because all he sold was game, straight up and down game. And he had a wingman that was another candidate that was in his corner all along. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Why is this so difficult? Clown Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago, Governor Pritzker of Illinois. Governor, I'm not going to make fun of your weight. President Trump has, but I'm not going to. But why can't either of you guys do the admirable thing and say, I am so sorry to the family of Sheridan Gorman, our 18-year-old young lady that was killed in our city and our state? You know why they won't say sorry? Because they know they have blood on their hands, and it's their policies that brought these savages into the country. That's why. Let's go to Margaret, line 2, Westchester. What's on your mind, Margaret?
I'm just wondering why AOC hasn't said anything also about Sheridan Gorman, because AOC is also from Yorktown Heights.
Right. Well, I thought AOC said she was from the hood. She said she was from the hood like me in the Bronx. She said she was from the hood, and then it got exposed that she was really from Westchester County.
Exactly.
Well, you know why she's not saying anything, because it goes against the agenda. I don't know what the agenda is. We're the party of pro-criminals. We want your vote. Your crime is not big enough as far. I don't understand. Margaret, educate me, please. Why not say something? I mean, why not do the right thing? Why cater to these animals, not all illegals, but a sizable amount? Why cater to them?
You know, it brings me a lot of sadness because I think it's un-American. It
is un-American.
It's terrible, and it makes me feel bad. I think they're just doing it because they have to stand their ground.
Right, they're doing it because Trump is mopping the floor with them. That's why. We're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. We're not going to pay TSA. We're going to mess up the airports. Trump goes, I got something for you. Send in ICE. ICE, give out free water. Talk to the people. Now Americans are in love with ICE. Hey, Margaret, thank you for the telephone call. So what am I talking about? Soundbite number 1. This is a traveler at Newark Airport that says ICE is cool and welcomes ICE at the airport.
Oh, they're right there. All right, they're good. They're here to help. They're not bothering nobody. As long as they can check my bags and get me on my flight, I'm good to go. Right? I want to get to the Bahamas. I want out of here.
I hope you enjoy your vacation in the Bahamas. Doesn't sound bad. Steve, line 1, New Jersey. What's on your mind, Steve?
Hey, Dominic, I'm a retired USCIS supervisor. I started that job after I retired after 20 years of being a police officer. I adjudicated between 5,000 and 10,000 cases. It's probably more about 7,500 cases in my career before I became a supervisor of USCIS. Dominic, we do not need legal immigration right now. We need to have a moratorium on all legal immigration until we get rid of all the illegal aliens in the United States of America. It's just use the rationale of when you have a leaky pipe, Dominic, okay, what's the first thing you do? You shut off the water, okay? We haven't done that. We need to do that.
You're correct. Steve, I only got about 15 seconds left for you. But why are they coming here committing crimes? I mean, you've worked with these people. Why are they doing
Dominic,
that?
Why they're doing that because what happens is they come, they can't get good jobs. They get very frustrated because they can't buy the Mercedes, the Porsche, and all the stuff they hear from their friends they're going to do when they come to America. They get frustrated and they take it out on the country.
Wow. Well, the country needs to take it back out on them. Like Bubba in the cell block. That's where he needs to go. Straight up, folks. I am back at 3 p.m. Eastern. Do me a favor. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?